Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Anime Lounge Podcast. I'm your host, Matt, alongside with my other host, Lance. And today we have our good friend, Tyler, with us.
What's up, guys?
I feel like it's been a minute. It's great to have you back on.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
Life can get in the way sometimes. It happens.
What a bitch.
We always like to start off with a nice adult beverage. Lance, what are you drinking today?
Today, I'm going to be drinking some Jeptha Creed, and I'll be chasing that back with a Carry of the G cream ale from right here in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Hopefully they go well together.
Not too bad.
Yeah?
I've already had them side by side as we're preparing for this, and it's working.
Nice.
What about you?
I am having the Blade and Bow. I don't remember what that tastes like. And also having a Carry the G. I've only been sipping that since before we started. What about you, Tyler?
I got a Happy Thursday strawberry because I'm a child.
Yeah, but those are really good.
They're good, and I got to take it easy because I got a day of drinking tomorrow, so can't do it twice in a row.
Come on, you're just pre-gaming for tomorrow.
I also got to go ride a motorcycle in the morning, so try not to go to bed hungover because I got to be up at 7.
And that's going to be loud.
I was going to say, the motorcycle is going to take back what I was going to say. I just got back from vacation 8 days in a row of drinking, so... But
if I wasn't driving, if I wasn't going to be test riding a bike tomorrow, I 100% would be drinking.
Okay. Yeah, that totally trumps everything. So totally can't mess with that one.
No, I guess it's understandable. Lance, you want to give us that synopsis for this episode?
Yes. So today we are going to be covering Kaiju number 8. It's going to be season 1. There's obviously going to be another season in the near future, but we're going to take this one from economictimes.intimatetimes.com / a bunch of other stuff.
Sounds like a weird porno site. Where are you getting this from?
I just typed in the name plus synopsis, and this was one. And nice and short and sweet, so we'll go with this one.
Okay.
Kaiju number 8 follows Kafka Hibino, an employee at a professional cleaning company that specializes in cleaning up after kaiju battles. His life takes a dramatic turn when he becomes a hybrid monster himself, gaining powers that might fulfill his dreams of fighting kaijus. Short, sweet, to the point.
Okay. That's a good one.
And today we are going to be flip-flopping roles between me and Matt. So for starters, we're going to throw Matt some Matt's lessons.
Yes, as we had mentioned earlier, life gets in the way, and Lance was very nice and covered the manga. I also know you were very excited for this one, so I had no arguments as far as letting you cover the manga. Today, the word is going to be armor, and the Japanese word for armor is yoroi. And that is very important for this series because all of our characters have armor that actually helps them and able to fight the kaiju. So without that stuff, we would all be doomed.
Yeah, these kaiju are quite amazing. And we'll definitely talk about armor in our future conversation. But yeah, armor is very important in this show.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lance, because we're mixing it up, Lance, you want to give us the manga mentions? NANI?
Yeah, so I covered the manga this time. And season 1 ends at chapter 38. So if you want to start season 2 material, just start reading at chapter 39. It was a clean cut, perfectly exactly where the anime ended at the end of chapter 38. So they did a really good job following along. There weren't a whole lot of differences, but I did catch a couple things. So I'm just going to read my notes. So when Kafka goes kaiju to save Kikuro Shinomiya in the field combat entrance, the people in the headquarters don't say that one of the suits is spiking in power. So when he zips along to save her before she gets hit by Kaiju 8 or Kaiju 9, in the anime they were like, someone's suit is malfunctioning, and Hoshina was like, oh, there must be some radio interference with all the explosions that were going on.
Okay, yeah.
That never happened in the manga?
Yeah, because I remember back near the end of the season, when he was having his suspicions after he finally revealed himself, that he said, now that makes sense on why one student's suit readings disappeared when that high fortitude popped up.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so that was very interesting that they were able to put that in the anime. My next note says there are a few spots where Mina is seen alone, showing a little vulnerability about Kafka, and 2 instances about that were thinking about him while she was in that bathtub right before the hospital scene.
Okay.
Like that scene where she was, that scene happened, but in the manga, it seemed a lot more vulnerable. She was doing some actual thinking about Kafka because that was kind of her first time seeing him, making strides. And another time after another hospital scene, this happened in the anime as well, but I don't remember her standing outside the hospital door before she entered and greeted Kafka. No. She had her back to the wall, listening to the conversation between Kafka and a couple other people. Like she was just waiting to hear what they were saying, and like she was just a little anxious to see him. So there's a little bit more vulnerability with Mina.
I like that. I wish we would have seen it, or at least they maybe portrayed it better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Otherwise, in the anime, she was, just a rough, tough, doing her job kind of person.
Yep.
This next note, I'm not exactly sure how well played it was in the anime, or how well it was explained. But Kafka was late to the ceremony because he wasn't considered an officer like everyone else was. He was just a cadet. So he had to sit out in the beginning part, making everybody worry.
Yep, that was explained in the anime because she said we had him sit out of this because he is going to be included as a cadet at Hoshina's reference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I went over my head the first time I watched this, and obviously reading again made me read everything word for word. So just in case anybody else missed out on that. Okay, now during the bath scene, not with Mina, but when everyone's in the
all the guys.
Yeah. Everything on the guys' side happened, but right before that in the anime, Kikuro commented on Mina's muscles and she was going to give him like a rundown on what she does. That never happens in the manga.
That makes sense. It was kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seemed like a random filler point that just gets some sort of conversation between Mina and literally anybody else.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because Mina doesn't really talk to anybody in the manga other than
Hoshina.
The Hoshina and a couple higher ups towards the end. The moment Kafka told Kikuro that he's a kaiju at the diner was a backstory after the bath scene, unlike in the anime where it was immediately after the ceremony. So it was a big time difference between when Kikuro knew about this information in the manga versus the anime. Of course, it all happened just like a couple chapters later. Yeah, a couple episodes even.
Okay.
In the anime, when the crew is first sent out on that Mushroom Kaiju mission, Kafka crawls down, in the anime, he crawls down a building after getting all amped up and like, let's go everybody. And then everybody's jumping off and he's slowly crawling down a building. And it's kind of a real comedic scene in the anime. Yep. That never happened in the manga. I was really sad to see that.
Yeah, that'd be disappointing.
What's really nice about manga, Matt, of course you would know, is author notes.
Yes.
So one of the notes was the weaponry that they use. Most of what I'm going to get at right here is going to be the ammo. The ammo is called unisockets or unit organs, and the ammo is made up of kaiju organs, which is why there's different attributes and why the ammo is also stronger. So that's why some ammo, depending on your power output, can deal massive damage versus little damage.
Yeah, because you look at like Kikuro during the training, that she was blowing them apart with nothing and everyone else is hitting them with pebbles.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And this also explains why there's ice rounds and electric rounds and stuff like that too, and stuff that might be showing up in the future. Not that I would know, but it's always a possibility when we talk about elements.
Especially when they're talking about the elements and they only showed 2.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely there's more to it than just that. So there's definitely...
Well, I mean, we've really only seen...
just the electric, their standard rounds, electric, and then the ice.
Mm-hmm. Well, even with the kaiju, we've only seen like straight power electric with Kafka, and then the electric kaiju, what was that, number 2?
Number 2.
So we've only really seen 2 elements up till now as far as kaiju are concerned. So that'd be interesting.
Everything else is like power blasters.
Because I don't remember what number Kikuru's axe was, but that experience
I don't think they gave us a true number.
I don't think they did unless you actually like looked at it, because the number that it refers to the kaiju is on the weapon.
Interesting. I have a note that it's probably one of my next couple things I'm going to say.
Because I know their weapons are based off of the kaiju that they're made from, and hers was a lot of wind. And so was Hoshina's. His was wind as well, if I remember correctly.
So I just looked it up. It's number 4 for
Kikuro.
Kikuro's axe?
Yeah, it's number 4.
I didn't even think twice about any of that information. So
I kind of caught it in the final where the chief was testing Kafka, because they were talking about it being the presence of number 2, and then it showed a close up and it had 2 written on both of them. So that's how I kind of put it together, that the numbers on them, because I noticed the numbers earlier. I just didn't know the reference until that part. That kind of put them together.
Truly explained, yeah.
Don't look too deep into her weapon though, because it's a spoiler.
Ooh, okay.
Not it being number 4, but just you learn background of the weapon, and you're like, oh man,
just more about the kaiju that it came from.
More information, and I was like, oh, okay, well, there goes that piece of information.
Okay, but we'll hold back on that one then. All right, my next note: when Kaiju 10. For everybody that needs a reminder, he's the red one who came in with all the wyverns. When Kaiju 10 with all the wyvern type kaiju came and asked who's the strongest, and Hoshina said that he just missed her, and now that makes him the strongest one. That's what he said in the anime. In the manga, he goes straight to saying that I'm the strongest one, so he kind of just saves time. So I thought that was a little interesting. I don't remember the tiger being given a name in the anime. I know it's in a character list, but I don't remember the anime ever saying the tiger's name.
Never caught it. I mean, she never referenced the tiger by name ever. Right. I don't think she even ever called the tiger at all. Like, the tiger just was there, knew what it needed to do, so it was never a point of reference.
Maybe. We'll go with that. Maybe.
It could be a maybe. I saw the series twice. I never caught it, but the manga did. The tiger's name is Bako, Bakko, which is pretty fitting for a tiger.
Yeah.
Especially in Japan. And one of the last things I have is another author note.
Okay.
He said that Kikuro's giant custom axe was originally going to be a giant broadsword, but he decided that the axe fit her much better, so that's what the design went with. So it's just a little interesting to imagine Kikuro without that axe and a giant sword instead.
Yeah, because a giant sword definitely would not fit her fighting style with how aggressive she is.
Mm-hmm. Will that note also take away from Shishiro's, like, because he dual wields short swords.
Oh, Hoshina?
Yeah. And then they go through all the effort of putting in the backstory of nobody uses blades anymore. So it's like, there's 2 people that would have bladed weapons or sword as a weapon. And so I feel like it would kind of diminish the backstory.
100% agree. Yeah, because that's what kind of makes Hoshina really awesome, is because that's exactly what he wanted to focus on, and he did, and he was shut down all of his life until Mina came through. And then, if he just gives someone a sword, it needs to be something big, powerful, real blunt. I mean, not that an axe is blunt, but, it's a big, powerful weapon. So, I would agree that the axe is a better fit.
Yep.
And then, that's my notes for all the manga. Like I said, if you want to continue, start at chapter 39. I read the first chapter. I'm not going to spoil too much. We can talk about that at the end, but I thought it was pretty interesting.
Okay. Some
guy is super nerdy, so that's really funny.
Okay. Tyler, since you're our guest, do you want to tell us your favorite character?
So I got 2. One's for personal reasons. The other one's because the actual anime. Mina is the personal reasons, because favorite animal is a white tiger. Saw that, instantly fell in love.
Okay.
But outside of that, it would be Reno. His cockiness when you first meet him, into instant respect because he saw Kafka not care about his own life to save somebody he barely knew.
Mm-hmm.
And then the way through the entire first season, he was constantly doing what he can to protect his secret and for him to not have to expose himself. And that is his reason to keep pushing to get stronger.
Right.
It was just his dedication as somebody that basically gave his life to protect him.
Yeah. He pushes himself further and further. And he said it multiple times that I'm going to do this so that he doesn't have to transform to protect anybody else. So he's got an extra layer of, he wants to get strong for sure for his own reasons, but to do it for someone else so that they don't have to, what we all thought was a potentially kill and put Kafka under some kind of surgical tech tool to be
basically put him under the knife to where he becomes a weapon for them instead of being who he is.
Yep.
Yeah, he's such a good boy, so it's very easy to like him.
Yeah, it's like the intro into the cockiness kind of gets you interested in who he is as a person, and then with just how he was as a character, easily my favorite in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Completely understandable. Lance, what about you?
My favorite character is definitely Hoshina, Vice Captain.
Okay.
He's the complete badass the entire way. If anybody liked the guy from Attack on Titan.
Oh, Levi? Captain Levi. That's the fight against K-10. I was like, This is giving me Levi vibes.
I said it in my short flight series too. I'm like, this is 100% Captain Levi. But of course, that was a minute ago. But yeah, Captain Levi vibes all the way.
Just not short.
Just not short. And he's just a complete badass. These swords are awesome.
Yeah.
One thing that's throwing me off is there was one of his sword techniques where he like did a cross slash and the slash itself was like a projectile. So I'm very curious about that. But anyway, he's fast, he's strong, he's a badass, he's super confident about everything. And he caught my attention real early because he was laughing his ass off at Kafka failing at every turn. So I thought that was pretty funny.
I have a feeling those swords launching a projectile are because each kaiju that you get it from has their own uniqueness and ability, and I have a feeling that's probably what his are. We just have no backstory.
Exactly. Now that we talked about it for a second before all this, it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
So I want to know more about that.
Yeah, maybe the kaiju could store power and then shoot blasts or something, and that's...
Anything.
Yep.
What about you, Matt? Who's your favorite character?
Oh, man. Kafka is a good one. I don't want to pick Kafka. I guess I'll go with Kikoro because, I don't know, she was probably the best personality out of the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like she was very aware that she needed to be the best and strive to be the best, and she was the best. She had some vulnerable parts throughout the series, and then just the end where, I guess, would you say she was able to help Kafka push through anything, or do you think her screaming was just nothing?
I think her screaming was partly, but not all of it.
Yep.
I'd say maybe like a fourth of the reason.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a little bit of a push. It's not like she was... Well, now I might have to rewatch and review it a little bit. Like, she wasn't 100% behind like a glass screen where she couldn't be heard, right? She can definitely be seen.
Yep.
But like, I'm pretty sure the anime made it pretty clear that like he can hear her in the background.
Yeah. I definitely didn't think that she was the reason, but I think she played a role in him kind of helping push through. So then the axe I thought was super awesome, just being very blunt and just overly powerful. It's you don't get to see axes very often in anime, so it's just really cool to see something different.
Right, especially a small little girl using a big axe versus like a big hefty man or something.
Yep.
And the powers that came out of this was very Demon Slayer-esque, which was really nice to see.
Yep.
But her axe is pretty badass.
So I'm going to be very curious on how she progresses because she's already the top of the class. And then within months they gave her an axe, which is what vice captain, or a weapon, which is what a vice captain would get. So and then her latent ability was what, 46% or something like that. How much?
Yeah, it was. I can actually tell you. I wrote down their percentage. Hold on.
Pretty sure she didn't break 50.
No.
Yeah, she had a record at 46% out the gate.
So obviously she's cheating because she's been doing this probably her entire life. But I mean, the fact that she can still get to a point in which only really captains get to, even though she's young, says a lot about her.
And I really wouldn't call it cheating due to the fact of who her father is. So he's got access to that tech. He literally molded her into it. Like, I literally have it noted in here that she is a perfectionist with daddy issues. Because that is exactly what she is.
Yep.
But because of trying to make her dad proud, she did everything that she could. She trained, she learned that suit, she learned her powers to make him proud. So I wouldn't necessarily say cheating, at least on my side of it. I could see her getting the suit early being cheating compared to everyone else because she has experience with the suit.
Yep.
But at the same time, you know her dad is.
Yep.
Yeah, and then she's well disciplined.
It's an unfair advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. I did find it funny when she's like, "Oh, my lucky number is 5, so I'm just gonna pick up."
No, it was 5. Sorry.
Yeah, it was 5.
55.
So
my lucky number today, I feel, is 5.
So here, let me throw your vehicle away so I can park here.
Yeah, the very first thing that came to my mind was like, oh shit, Kafka's probably thinking, oh, these damn millennials. But then again, Kafka's 32. He's a millennial. So that would be Azir.
Yeah, but you know, his best friend, not really a best friend at this moment in time, but his best friend was her age. So
no, Mina?
Reno.
Oh, Reno. He is definitely older than Kikoro. I can say that much for sure because
It's not by much. It's
not
only
by much.
like a year or two at most.
There was a moment in the manga where everyone was drinking after that first mission.
Yep.
The author made a comment that Kikuro was too young to drink, and Ichikawa was drinking.
So
isn't the
we can say
drinking
that
age?
much.
I think she's 14. I think he's 16. Because
So-
I think the legal drinking age there is 16, isn't it?
Reno is 18, and they don't have an age for Kikuru. They just have a birthday.
Oh, well, it's
Wait,
under the drinking age.
Did they
That's all I can say.
she's older than 14? Because if I remember at one point when they were introducing her, they commented that she was the youngest to graduate at 14.
Yeah.
So I think she's might be 14 or 15 because obviously she's fresh out of graduating. I think she's about 14.
I think they made a comment that she skipped some grades and stuff too.
Yep.
Always on the top of her class, never getting praised from her dad.
Yeah, no. Yeah, they don't, I don't see an age, but yeah, she's probably 15, 16-ish, if I had to guess.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she's needed within the series as well, just because they are all striving to be as strong as her, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of crazy that basically it's kind of crazy that, you know, the two strongest individuals minus the vice cap, two of the three strongest individuals are both women, which you don't see too often, especially in anime.
Yeah, good point. That being Mina and Kikuro.
Yep.
At least for now.
Yep.
One thing that I could already tell from the next chapter was they're part of, Section 3 or whatever, the 3rd division. There's Division 1 stronger.
Yep.
So there's going to be much more stronger people that we're going to meet. So I can't wait to see what's going on there. A little bit of spoiler that I'll throw out there. Kikuro is part of 1st Division. So we're going to see a lot more stronger people.
So that's who she gets transferred to?
Yeah, that's who she got transferred to.
Okay.
And if anybody is confused on why there's transferring going on, it's because of the big kaiju fight with number 10 and all of Division 3 getting completely blown up. So they need to split the division so that they can repair and just continue to let everybody be on top.
And I know before that, because they were getting mad about it, she did say that them all getting split was in the works before that happened, especially before Kafka got found out.
Oh, did they say
Yeah, they did mention in the anime that this has been a thought before this happened.
Yeah, it does sound oddly familiar now.
Well, yeah, they're the best class in history, so, you know, they can't have them all in the 3rd division.
Yeah, making 1st Division look bad or something.
Spread the wealth.
Especially when you have two people who have promising levels to be above captains.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I like that they made definite mention that Kikuro and Rano both have the opportunity to become vice captain or at least high people. They made another word like that, but it's one of those lines.
One thing I want to make mention, the intro outro songs,
Mm-hmm.
definitely enjoyed them a lot.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see an American band, at least for the outro.
Well, both of them were.
Both of them were? Okay,
Yeah.
I always skip the intros, but the outro always cut in at, like, you can't skip the beginning of the outro. Like,
Yeah.
I recognize this band. So, like, I did add the outro song to my playlist.
Yep.
It's pretty good.
I ended up adding one of the songs from one of the episodes in as well. I think it was like episode 8.
Well, then I also sent you I sent you guys the intro. There was somebody did a cover of the intro.
Oh yeah, I saw that, but I was on vacation, so I didn't open it at the time. So I'm gonna have to go back and look at that one.
Yeah, that one's a good one. They were a lot of fun. You typically don't get a good, like, a banger for an intro and an outro.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to get it.
One thing I can comment on, not that I've watched it multiple times, but this intro, the animation style threw me off. It was like I almost felt like I was on drugs half the time because it was so trippy and it was very interesting.
Hyper detailed.
Uh-huh.
Compared to how the anime was, it was extremely detailed to where it was on par with Demon Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just the amount of detail in just the intro was amazing. I think I watched it almost every time because it was not every time. Probably like the first 5-6 episodes, but it was fantastic.
It was one of those that if I didn't get the skip intro, I would just let it go, kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I always, if I don't get skip intro, I just tap it 9 times on my phone and then I'm done.
Yep.
So
Every anime, minute and a half, 9 taps.
it's very rare to be outside of that minute and a half.
Yeah, I had to make sure I powered through every intro and outro. Obviously, I skipped through the outros in case there were cutscenes. This one was weird. There was one cutscene after episode 1. That was it.
I was gonna say it was in the very beginning,
And that was actually the path scene.
Yeah,
That was it.
And they replayed it though, didn't? Yeah, and it.
Nope.
Yeah.
Well,
Sort of.
I think
Okay,
they because it went more in depth about what the call was initially about.
Yeah, they replayed the main information at the very least on the next episode.
No.
Yeah.
So you didn't miss out on info. You just got to miss out on
Just a bath scene.
her backside with underwear.
Otherwise, yeah, I usually skip through because, I mean, my dumbass binge watched it all in one night and it was fantastic and worth it.
Yes, it was.
This is definitely binge worthy. In fact, this is probably the best way to binge. Ever want to stop this? Stuff's happening in every single episode. Everything is just...
Every episode had something going on that kept you pulled in. There was an episode here or there that, it was filler, but still had enough interesting stuff going on that you didn't want to skip anything. There was never a part that I was bored. I was like, I could honestly live without seeing this.
Yep.
Right. We needed enough time to slow down because this first season was very eventful. They could have easily slowed a lot of this down and added a bunch of stupid stuff because every episode basically...
You mean like peeing nipples?
Oh, God.
No, I meant like extended filler. Like slow down, really focus in on individual characters, like going into their backstory. I mean, we can probably get to that in season 2, I would imagine. But this first season was just action-packed. Every episode was so interesting. Not exactly... it was fast-paced, but in a good way.
Yeah, because, I mean, you look at it. It's 12 episodes. You had, 5 major fights? 6?
Something like that.
Like, it was constant go.
Mm-hmm.
But even though it was fast-paced, and obviously from past times of me being here, I hate fast-paced because I want to see it pull out a little bit or, like, get it drawn out a little bit and understand, like, just see more mechanics and whatnot. Just enjoy the fights longer. As soon as one was done, I was ready for the next.
Well, that and every episode had an actual arc to the episode. It wasn't just like a high and here's a cliff and it's over. Like you had your up and then maybe a little bit of a bump and then you went down, or it went like you had everything built towards something. You had it happen and then it had pretty much everything wrapped up well to go into the next thing. So it wasn't just a bunch of spikes within the series.
Yeah, because I felt like it would increase at each fight, plateau for a little bit after like everybody talking about what happened, debriefing, and then it would spike up again as soon as the next fight started. Like I felt like there was never a lull in at any time during
or at least
the show.
A boring lull.
Exactly.
So
like it would have its slow moments, but it was filled with information that you were learning about everybody from that class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because then like a good example is the when Kafka is watching Shishiro do his like image training, and then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is going to be a nice lull. He's going to go to sleep. We're going to go. Next day is going to be training. No, we're going to have fucking just a shit ton of Wyron attack the base instead, and now we're into the next thing immediately. But they gave you enough of a break that it didn't feel immediate.
Mm-hmm.
And can we just, for Hoshina, relay like how badass he is? The fact that he could image train the exact movements from a fight that intense.
Mm-hmm. Knowing what he did wrong, what he wish he could have changed up. He made that comment that if I just used my 6th skill, things would have been done quicker, but he was kind of egotistical to a degree because he wanted to gauge Kaiju 8's power before he really just took him out and did his job. So,
and which is like insane to understand how weak Kafka is to how strong Kaiju number 8 is. Because even Hoshina said, I have to take this serious, and he wasn't even fighting back. He was dodging.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah,
he had to take it serious.
Yeah, now that's making me question, what if Kafka went into his enraged mode against Hoshina like he did against Daddy Shinomiya?
He would have killed him.
Yeah, Hoshina would have never survived that.
He almost killed the chief. The only reason he didn't is because he was able to gain control. Otherwise, he would have killed the chief instantly. He literally blew a hole through it. Oh, well, I don't know if he blew a hole through his side. I don't know if he was able to move, but he was damaged on his side. And that was off putting up his shield at 100% and dodging it and still almost died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at that last moment, if Kafka didn't break through, throw his hand through his own body, Shinomiya would have definitely been dead. And that you can only raise questions after that. What would have happened to the rest of the building? I'm sure they would have been.
Well, that would have been the end
attack.
Would have been the end of Kafka.
yeah, all out attack at that point.
And it's still the fact that with even him going full berserk, zero control, they understood that Shinomiya, so like Kokoro's dad, was able to understand that she can control him.
Or at least
to a
influence.
point. Yep. He is influential. He noticed that with her being there and her shouting seemed to affect his mindset and kind of pull him out. Mm-hmm. And the fact that somebody who, seeing her childhood and how he treated his kids, let him live.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the thing is like, do you think she had an impact on it? About her asking to spare his life? Or do you think anybody did?
This could go one of two ways. One, it's making me think, the anime is making me think as a viewer that hardcore badass daddy gave in a little bit to his daughter's wishes and like give him a chance to survive. But then again, what if he's just pure business, pure badass, and he wants to see like, okay, well, these suits that we can make from these kaiju are amazing and helpful, but it might be a little bit more convenient if someone can just instantly turn into a kaiju and be more on demand.
I think it was curiosity of, if this guy is as strong as I know he is at this point, why did he go through all the effort of everything he did beforehand? Why didn't he just turn into a kaiju, kill everybody, and call it a day? Why is he protecting my people? Why is he showing 0% in his suit? Like, they're...
Not 1% now.
yes, now 1%. But it didn't make sense as to why somebody would, or a kaiju would try and act like a human, save humans, and kill other kaiju. Mm-hmm. So I think it was more curiosity. I think his daughter did have a little bit of say into it, and it could have just been a respect thing of, well, you saved my daughter, so let me at least give you the opportunity for you to save yourself.
And I do feel like Mina's speech at the end also may have, I don't think it really swayed him because I think his mind was made up. Because it's like when the two guys, I don't know who they are, the two guys up in the room, when they were talking, literally said that if he wanted to kill him, he would have killed him before he turned.
Yep.
So he was literally doing this to test his capabilities and push his mental.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because I had a feeling he already had his mindset that if he could control himself and still prove that he is stronger than the strongest person in their entire ranking, that he is worth keeping around, to probably in his mind to utilize as a weapon.
I mean, as long as he can maintain control.
Exactly.
And I think the biggest takeaway from that was, in the end, he did come back into control. Of course, we're all going to have to talk about the Berserk deal if he's ever going to go Berserk again in the future.
I have a feeling he will. There's going to be something
really
that will trigger him, and I have a feeling it, as dark as anime can get, it will be at the loss of somebody close to him that will send him overboard.
Ooh, okay. You want to put like bets on if you think it's going to be Mina, Reno, or Kikaru? I think those are the top and only three. Hoshina might be a close fourth, but I think it's between those three who are actually close to him.
I can't see it being Mina because she's too pivotal to his storyline.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The whole goal is to be by her side.
Exactly. So I can't see them killing her off. Maybe completely neutralizing her to where she's put in the hospital for a long time. Maybe I could kind of see that. It's hard to say because all three of them are so pivotal.
Mm-hmm. At this rate, I would go Ichikawa.
I can see Reno being the one that absolutely makes him lose it.
Go back to the Berserk mode.
I don't think they're going to kill him off, though.
I don't think they're going to kill him off. I think it's like kind of like what I was saying with Mina. It's going to put them to where they're like in a coma for an extended amount of time. But they think he thinks he's dead out on the battlefield, just whatever it might be, that he just loses it.
Yeah, I think, no death, but
and it's going to be in the middle of a fight with all his teammates around.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, I can see that. I do have a feeling he's going to turn it, but I'm more curious if we run into a kaiju that can like control other kaiju, and maybe that's what causes him to go berserk, because we're fighting more numbered kaiju, so there's going to be another one.
Yeah.
So what if
So there are kaiju who can control other kaiju. Obviously, we learned that from K10, from kaiju number 10.
Yep.
9.
No,
10.
so 10.
The
10.
Wyverns, because
10
Kafka
was more powerful than the Wyverns. He wasn't
which allowed him to
necessarily
gain control.
Right.
So it's I guess it's I kind of see what you're saying with like mind control to be able to control them.
Yep.
But I can't see kaiju being like that after watching that. They are more controlled by who is more dominating.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like what Kafka said, Wyverns hunt single. They're solo hunters. So there's somebody strong enough to basically force their will upon them.
Right. That's the difference I wanted to make. Not a psychological, like psychic, like I can control you with my mind kind of control. It was, I'm stronger than you, so I'm going to demand you all to follow me in my army kind of control.
Yeah, but I think there's going to be a new numbered kaiju that can basically manipulate other kaiju.
Right, that has a superpower.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I would imagine somewhere in the future at the very least.
So that's my theory. I heard another theory of that Kafka is a humanoid kaiju, and he didn't know it.
Like from the beginning?
Yeah, from the beginning.
That's interesting, because I would like to turn that into another conversation that I've been thinking about.
Okay.
But to continue with yours, I would like to say no, because he ate that worm.
So the theory is that the worm,
Flying worm thingy.
Yeah, it said, "I found you." So it was specifically looking for him.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, oh, he must be he must have been a kaiju to begin with,
or had that initial potential,
or like a
or
hybrid.
had the core.
It was a hybrid, so was a human kaiju, and they were looking for him specifically. They also tried saying that he heard the kaiju say it was looking for him. I don't believe that happened. I think that was just more the kaiju speaking, and it was a moment in which we understood what the kaiju was doing. Not that Kafka heard what the kaiju was doing.
By the looks of it, it was more like telepathy, because you could see when he said it, you could kind of like see like the waves.
So that was their theory as to why they believe kaiju, or that Kafka is a kaiju, because kaiju can talk to each other, and he can, I don't know exactly if he has some sort of sense about where the other kaiju are.
That was apparent after he became full-fledged kaiju.
Yes.
But like when he was on the cleanup crew, he had nothing.
But he also never got close to kaiju.
At least live ones.
Yes.
That's a good point. We don't know that for sure. We can't say that.
Me personally, I don't think that's what it is.
I would like to go against that hypothesis.
Yep.
Which, do you have anything to add to that?
No, that was the theory, is that he is essentially a human kaiju hybrid.
Okay, because I have an additional hypothesis to throw out there just for funsies. And much like Attack on Titan, just like what we saw with this worm, do you think every single kaiju that we see is made by a human, and the giant ones are just ones that go absolute berserk, go out of control, can't control themselves, and the numbered ones are the ones with a strong enough host and just continues to grow from there? So like Attack on Titan, do you think these kaiju were all once human?
So I just want to quick say something. The weak ones can reproduce essentially are asexual and can reproduce, so that we can have an unlimited number. Mm-hmm. But in order to have strong kaiju, they come from humans.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of going broad, like all kaiju, all Honju, Yonju.
My only problem with that is, the population of people is not great enough for it to be like what we saw in, the real first battle that they all were in. There was just way too many of the kaiju.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of them.
So that's my only reason why I'd want to slightly change that hypothesis. But yeah, Tyler, you have a thought?
Yeah, I kind of like read a little bit into it. No spoilers. It's just like people bouncing ideas. Is that the reason why it probably chose him is, one, he's got zero power. He's got zero
output.
So maybe they targeted him as a host through the fact that he can't fight back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And another one also said because he works the cleanup crew and he's constantly around them, so getting their blood on them, getting all their fluids, getting just the constant contact.
Getting the poop on them.
Exactly. Getting the attested duty. That it just maybe affected him.
Attracted him.
Exactly.
Attracted to him.
Like, that's the kind of like theories that I saw on it. Right now, I can't see why it would target him. I would have zero clue. The fact that it literally came up and said, I found you, it was looking for him. It was specific. And I have a feeling we're probably not going to find out for a couple seasons.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be...
That's going to be like late, like maybe like season 4, season 5. I have a feeling it's going to be like later, and if it lasts that long.
End of series kind of information. Yeah.
Because I have a feeling it's going to break down into more. And there is a lot more we don't understand.
Yeah, that would make sense.
There is currently 110 chapters.
And we're about a third of the way through.
Third, yeah.
Okay. So Lance, what about you?
As of now.
What do you think? I know this is your theory, but like what made you think of this one?
Rethinking about Kafka originally becoming the kaiju.
Okay.
He started out supposedly as a human and then
Yep.
became one, so it made me wonder, like my theory stated, Attack on Titan style, all kaijus originate from a single human, and then through anime logic, we just turn into kaijus.
Okay. That makes sense.
So kind of like in related, unrelated, kind of like Fire Force with the Infernals.
Yeah,
They just
that too.
kind of become one.
Yeah, if the host is strong enough, they become badass or
Kind of like
just whatever.
First episode when the first kaiju popped up. How do you know it's not something that just kind of linked to somebody? They went berserk right away and started attacking.
That makes sense. And I mean, it's pretty common. It's a somewhat common thing when you have humans transforming. Just think of like Demon Slayer, Fire Force. It's fairly common where stuff like that happens. So that would make sense. It'd be interesting. I would be curious if we find another one, like another worm thing, like we see another one.
Because if the camera were to ever show another worm infecting another host, that would kind of confirm it to a degree.
Yep. And they could turn evil, like Kaiju 9 could get defeated, and it's like, oh, well, we need a new, basically, person to take over the world, so...
Oh, yeah, so is there a base that's just breeding all of these worms that are going out into the world?
Yeah, where'd the Kaiju come from? So that would be...
Kind of like a Queen Bee scenario where it's just constantly, like, releasing the egg to transform somebody into a Kaiju.
Yep.
Yeah, I would like a little bit more origin story on these Kaiju. I like that we do know that in Hoshino's past, with the Way of the Blade and their ancestors, they were all dealing with Kaiju, weaker Kaiju, smaller ones, and through history up to the present day, everything's been getting bigger and stronger, just
natural progression,
exponentially. That's the word I was looking for. So I would like to know some sort of origin.
Okay, yeah, no, I definitely agree with that one.
And also, like, with the kind of helping them transforming and people transforming into Kaiju, none of them live long enough to ever see if they come out of the form. If it were. They usually gets, because if you remember when, after episode 2, when Kafka killed the lower Kaiju and then disappeared, was a Yoju?
Yep.
Killed the Yoju and then just disappeared. He's the first Kaiju to ever go missing.
Yep, that's true.
So none of them live long enough to know if they're going berserk or to know if they're truly whatever they are. So maybe it could be a reason like that.
Guess we'll see. I do have one more note that I'm looking at real quick.
Okay.
Back to the Director General Shinomiya versus Kafka fight. Before everything truly went down, Daddy Shinomiya took a blood sample.
Yep.
Now...
They took lots of blood samples, by the way.
Oh, they did take lots of them? Okay, well,
yeah.
He specifically took one where he injected his hand into Kafka's body, filled up a vial. Okay, so now I'm just curious, where's all this blood going to go through? What's it going to do? Is this going to be replicable?
Yeah, they're probably studying it. I would 100% think they would be.
I just want to see some anime logic come out of this and something cool come out of Kaiju number 8.
Honestly, it might be used for like armor because they use the genes and stuff like that for the armor, but they use the bones and material bullets for the weapons. So I don't say weapons, but it could be maybe for the armor because it's like they said, he's the strongest fortitude they've seen.
9.8.
Yep.
I think
Yep, because even when Kaiju 10 was in his increased state, super strong, he was only a 9.
Yep.
So speaking of the Shinomiya and Kaiju 8 fight, when he basically used his body as a decoy and basically remade his body.
Cut his body in half and replicated or regrew himself from behind.
Yeah, I thought that was insane.
Insane. And then not only did he replicate himself from behind, like he had these jet blasters coming out of his arm for a super punch on top of that. Like Kaiju 8 is fucking loaded. He's like Spawn.
Yep.
He's got everything under his belt.
Cannons in his arms and his legs and his feet.
He's got a supersonic roar that we saw earlier too. He just replicated. Oh, okay. I don't know why this popped in my head now. The manga drawings of Kaiju 8 with his face, his open eye pattern, because it's basically a skull.
Yep.
Both eyes were completely differently cracked in different directions. The anime was a little bit more symmetrical, but the manga was definitely
Show like
different
the
all around.
uniqueness.
Yeah.
and-
Interesting.
So throwing that one out there.
But I do think right now is a good time we take a break before we continue this conversation.
Hey Toasties, I'm Missy, here with my bestie Johnsy.
Hey y'all.
Do you like mind-blowing crime cases, spooky tales, and debating theories?
Well, what a coinkydink. So do we. Grab your beverage and be a part of our Toasted Shenanigans on your favorite podcast app.
You can even send us a story or drink suggestion. Hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or at toastedshenanigans.com.
Hey, this is Tyler, one of the hosts of RangerCast. On our show, we talk about Power Rangers and other multi-hued spandex heroes. We've got news, reviews, interviews. We talk about the comics, the games, the toys, and all things more phenomenal. Find us at Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or check us out at rangercast.net. May the power protect you.
And welcome back from our break. Let's take this opportunity and just highlight what we thought was our favorite fight scene or moment. Tyler, did you have a favorite fight out of season 1?
I have a feeling it might be unanimous, but it's definitely going to be Hoshina versus K10 with how the Levi movements and just how he was making the best of his situation, not being good against big targets.
Mm-hmm.
Because even when he pushed his body to the limit, Suit could not do anymore, just did not give up and just kept going because he knew if he died, they died.
Exactly.
I will say right now that is not my favorite fight.
Oh, traitor.
I am also not the biggest Attack on Titan fan. Like, I enjoyed it, but so that might also be part of it, where just Attack on Titan was good, and that's as far as I'm going to say. I have said way too many words about Attack on Titan in our episodes. So, Lance, is that your favorite fight?
I would say that's my second. Sorry, Tyler. But it might just be a little bit of recency bias, but the final fight between Daddy Shinomiya versus Kaiju 8 really is when Kaiju went berserk. He got bigger, he got stronger, insane abilities coming forth that we didn't even see when he was fully in control. That battle between essentially two Kaiju was pretty intense. And I loved what Kaiju 8 was doing that entire time, which is really what brought me in.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to claim right now as my favorite. Of course, I did love Hoshino's battle. Complete badass, so much choreography going on. Not to diminish any fight, period. Every fight had amazing choreography going on.
Yes.
Hoshina is just so athletic, so acrobatic. He is amazing. And then working together with Kikuro at the end with breaking down some of the armor and then coming back in with the axe to really deal some kind of a blow. I thought that was great teamwork. But yeah, it's got to be that final battle. What about you, Matt?
I'm going to go with the fight with Kaiju 9.
Oh, so we're all choosing something different.
Yeah.
Which fight?
Well,
I guess there really was only one fight because the first time he just kind of almost killed Kukuro. Kikoru.
Yeah.
Almost killed her. And
Yeah.
then just disappeared. So I guess that really wasn't a fight. She tried, but just got outmatched.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, yeah, really the only fight was when Ihara and Reno were pinned down.
Yep.
Yeah, that was also a very good scene just in general. Seeing Reno and Ihara trying their hardest to survive. That's where we got to see the electric bullets come into play.
Yep.
That was really nice.
Their friendship / rivalry get stronger. I really enjoyed that part.
Yep.
It was also nice with like Ihara coming back in under his own will, but also realizing he had no option. He didn't know that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
he still came back, which reminds me of how Reno did in the very beginning.
Yep. So I like the character development between those characters. Obviously, we had Kafka coming back and basically showing up. And it led into the Shoshiro fight between him and Kaiju number 8. So that was, like, I feel like that whole series of events was probably my favorite because I enjoyed that 2 fight, which is kind of cheating because I picked 2 fights.
Yeah, it was coming to save the day, and then, oh shit, someone caught me.
Yep. So I feel like it was probably, besides Kafka fighting for his life to survive, as in against Shinomiya. But I enjoyed the suspense in that part the most, because I thought there was a chance that he was going to either kind of give himself up, as in, hey, I'm Kafka, or Shoshiro was going to be like, why are you not fighting me? And I thought there was going to be more to it than that. So just him kind of escaping was the most suspenseful part.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I cheated. I picked 2 fights, but that's okay.
No, that was a big scene. A lot happened pretty quick.
Yep.
And it was just pure intensity.
Kind of crazy how we had all different favorite fights, especially when Tyler thought we were going to have the same one.
Hey, you can't blame me. All right, it was a very good fight.
Yes, they're all, honestly,
all the fights were good.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you have a favorite like moment?
Nothing coming to mind other than an LOL moment right now, and that was just Kafka peeing out of his nipples.
That took me so off guard.
Yeah.
Because Reno was looking back, is like, you ain't got the normal parts, and then all of a sudden just boop. And then he just felt like he lost his manhood and rolled on the ground like a child.
Yeah. There was another moment in the manga where he peed out of his nipples. It was just real quick. It was like he was shocked in a gasp, and it just showed one single panel of just like him like, and then just liquid coming up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So now that we've talked about peeing nipples twice, anything else we want to talk about?
We need to talk about Kaiju 9 a little bit.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
We've kind of skipped over him. I know he's not the most exciting character, but they're really building him up to be something of a big importance.
But we've seen a lot more out of him than we have other people.
Right.
Especially out of Kaiju number 8.
Yeah.
Because look, go back to the fight like Matt was talking about. He was able to move at very high speed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He can multiply his arms, shoot his bullet out of his arms,
Pull
out of his
dead
fingers,
bodies.
pull corpses, regenerate. Obviously, they can all regenerate, but
He seems very...
his regeneration was ridiculous.
Yep.
Until Kafka came in and blew him to a pulp.
Make other Kaiju regenerate.
Yeah, resurrect other Kaiju.
So he seems almost OP.
Mm-hmm.
He is in the fact that he has high intelligence and can also shapeshift.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's something very important. I know we've kind of hinted at it as far as the closing credits are concerned. We looked at it very closely. There are 2 of him when it comes to Kaiju number 9. There's him standing in the shadow, and then the one on the computer. So to be very curious, well, Tyler, what do you have thoughts for that?
It can go one of 2 ways.
Wait. Let me just break this down for the viewers. On the last 10 seconds of the episode, Kaiju 9 is sitting at a computer and he's examining everything. And then directly behind him, standing, looking away from him, is another figure. And it's a very almost exact copy of Kaiju 9. So at first glance, it looks like there's 2 Kaiju 9s standing in the same room.
So I believe it can go one of 2 ways.
Okay.
Either it's going to be a useless clone that's just kind of brain dead, runs forward, does its thing, just kind of...
He can basically command it to do stuff.
Exactly. Has its own thought process. Or it is going to be an exact duplicate with high intelligence that can pose just as big of a threat, but it's going to be more bullheaded.
Interesting. Okay.
Do you think that this potential replica is going to create its own name and it's going to have its own... It's basically going to be like a twin. Yes, it looks the same, but they're 2 different entities.
I don't fully think it's going to create its own name because due to the fact that it is part of Kaiju 9's body.
Mm-hmm.
I also think it would be cheating.
It'll be a little strong, but I do think it's going to have its own thought process. It's going to have its own intelligence, but I can't see it straying away due to the fact that it's technically still a part of Kaiju 9's body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because wasn't there a part in the anime where he made... Well, in the one fight where he got behind her, he literally dismantled his body and went behind.
Yep.
So he can do things with his body. So that's why I'm confused if it's... Not really confused, but unsure if it's going to be its own thinking clone or if it's just a basic clone.
The only thing I'm going to throw into this is we got to remember that every kaiju has their own core. So if this thing isn't attached by some thin strand of some sort, is this figure behind him have its own specific core that makes them something different? Or is this going to be like a soulless corpse and he's just literally controlling it?
And I have a feeling it's going to be more along the soulless corpse if it's a duplicate of him.
Mm-hmm.
If it's got its own core, it is a whole brand new kaiju.
Right.
I feel like it's probably just going to be a moving corpse where if it gets decapitated, it's just done for.
Sure. Do you think it's going to, at that rate, he's just going to create an army of himself and then he can blend in whenever he needs to?
I'm getting a lot of Mahito from Jujutsu,
Mm-hmm.
where he was able to replicate himself, where it was essentially himself. It was kind of strong, but he was missing the ability to like transmute.
Percentile of his power.
Yeah. So I wonder if that's what it's going to be. So now Kaiju 9 is slightly weaker, but because now there's two of them, he doesn't think it's...
It's kind of like throwback to like Naruto with the shadow clones. It's a percentile of its power, but the thing is, does it act on its own?
Yep.
Is the biggest thing. Is it like a puppet by his command, or does it have its own thought process and willpower to do what it wants to do?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And we got absolutely nothing from the end of the season, so we have no idea.
Right. Just speculating at this point.
It's just him standing in a window. That's it.
Yep. So it'll be very, very curious.
Yeah. One favorite moment I want to add real quick is the Hoshina fight, where the entire time while he was fighting Kaiju number 8, he was breaking down his movements. And then at the very end, realized he knew he wasn't fighting back the entire time, but realized that something was wrong when he literally said he could have killed me, but went for his swords instead.
Yep. Yeah, I thought that was a very powerful moment.
Because it went to show that there's more to this kaiju than others, because it did not show aggression.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which kind of got him even thinking more, and that also led to his suspicion of Kafka.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, he said near the end that he turned a blind eye because he felt that there was something to him that he wanted to believe in, even though things didn't necessarily add up.
Yep.
Logically.
And the thing is like Hoshina backs Kafka,
mm-hmm.
but he's still pissed that he didn't try in that fight.
I can't wait for that conversation.
Oh, it's going to be fun, because I have a feeling they're going to have a sparring match, but Kafka's not going to fully transform when he does it. I have a feeling it's going to be arms and legs, and that's it.
Yeah, does the half deal, like half his jaw is...
No, I think he's going to make him transform.
Oh, you think he's going to go full?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to give him an option.
Oh.
He's going to be a friendly match, but going for the kill to force him to actually try.
Yeah.
Yeah, very well.
Yeah, I can definitely see something like that happening to a degree.
Yep.
I am very curious on how the Defense Force is going to utilize this live body in order to be useful, because that's the only reason why he's technically alive, is because he can be of use.
With how her dad is, they're going to try to utilize him as a living weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Even though Kafka says, I am not a weapon. I am in the Defense Force.
I took it more of as I'm not a weapon that you can
puppet around and use to your own will.
No, that you can cut me up and make me into a weapon.
I didn't take it as that. I basically took it like they're going to keep him alive and literally use him just as what he is, a kaiju as a weapon. Just not going to let him do his own thing. He is under containment until he's needed. That's kind of how I took that conversation.
Kind of like a suicide squad.
Yeah, because they already said that...
You're useful for one thing only.
Yeah, because they already said that they're not going to kill him. But that's why he said, I am not going to be used as a weapon.
But we also have to remember that the civilization cannot know that a kaiju is being used as a weapon. Mm-hmm. So they have to be very strategic. So pretty much Kafka has to be out in the kind of public.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Hoshina said at the end. Eventually they're going to find out, but Kafka needs to make them believe that he is the reason for hope.
Yep.
For them to accept it.
Yeah, like the situation with the little girl that he saves.
Exactly.
Back to my Suicide Squad mention. If the Defense Force is going to rely on a kaiju like this, what kind of safety protocols do you think they'll have? Do you think they're going to want to like surgically implant some kind of like explosive device around the core itself, and in a moment's notice, if things go wrong, they can push a button and the core will be destroyed? Or do you think they're just going to hopes and prayers at this point?
If Kaiju number 8's body is anything like Kaiju number 9, don't know if they are, I don't think they will be able to, because Kaiju number 9 can move his core.
Yep. Yeah, he can
because he moved, or was it Kaiju 8 that actually moved his core?
No, it wasn't.
So one of them moved their core because
was somebody. 10?
I feel like
no, it was
thing.
small. I think it was 9.
I think it was 9 because they opened up his core and then they struck in the same spot and it wasn't there anymore.
Mhm.
Yep.
So I think it was 9 that was able to move his core. And I don't know if that's all of them or if it's him specific because we've obviously he can manipulate his body.
I would go with a 9 only thing.
Okay. So I don't know what safety measures they'll take, but I have a feeling one of them will definitely be kill on sight from Mina. That will be her one rule. He loses it, he's killed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, speaking of Mina, we saw her cap out at 96%. I want to see somebody show what 100% looks like.
I have a feeling we will see that in season 2 if Division 1 comes into play in season 2.
Oh, like I spoiled in the beginning of this episode.
Yeah.
Kikaru joins
Division 1.
Division 1 thing. I want to say Session 1. I don't know why. But Division 1. So we're going to see a lot of Division 1 stuff coming up. But do we know for sure if Mina... Wait, we know she's the superhero of the story, but like, do we know for certain that she is the strongest?
I don't think she is because in the very beginning, I made a note on it. Let me go back. So Division 3 responds to things in that area because they're based in Yokohama.
Mm-hmm.
Division 1 will be they're advertised because she's up on their billboards because that's their area.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling her power, just me, her power will be the same, if not less than the vice captain of Division 1.
Mm.
I think she's going to be stronger, but I do think they max it out at 99.
Just because 100 is supposed to be maybe impossible?
Yeah, and they don't make mention, because I feel like if anybody would be able to go to 100, it'd be the commander, and they didn't make mention of him using 100%. So that's just why I don't think anybody can go to 100.
Also because he wasn't trying to kill.
Yeah, but he had to protect himself.
Which is also what the shield in the suit does.
So
his output power does not change the shield's protective abilities.
that is true. I still think I
think the captain, if anyone's going to hit 100%, it will be him or the chief.
Yep.
It's going to be him. But I still think because it caps at 100 does not explain skill and ability. I still have a feeling Division 1's vice captain will be stronger than Mina.
To go back to Mina, I think she was the youngest commander. I think that's what was special about her.
She was.
Yeah, so that's just what makes her so special.
Mm-hmm.
Little fun fact, do you remember what Hoshina capped out at?
I want to say 92.
It was 92.
Yeah.
Well,
So
at least
he's
you
not
remember.
far behind her.
No, he's
Well,
not.
then again, you're looking like turns of RuneScape. 92 to 96 is a lot. But in this power scaling, I don't see him far behind. But it's like he stated, depending the situation, he is stronger.
Close
Because
combat.
she is not good
mid to small
with
range.
close combat.
Mhm.
So any...
Yeah, piggybacking what you're trying to get at was one of my notes I wanted to ask. I want to see Mina come face to face with a kaiju and be forced to do something physical because we see her in the background in the long distance blasting her super powerful rifle bazooka thingy. I want to see her show why she is the leader of Division 3.
Because she has a 100 cal rifle. That's why she's the.
And I have a feeling we are going to...
We need a secondary weapon that we need to see.
Okay, a little plot twist about how we were talking about, like, if he could go berserk again. I have a feeling, again, like how I said earlier, Mina getting hurt will be in a hand-to-hand combat against 9.
Okay.
That
Interesting.
she will lose. Because, like she said, she is more of a danger to herself with knives and short-range stuff than she is to the kaiju.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a little, like, whatever you call it.
She's got a very big weakness, and that needs to be exploited in the near future, mid-future. Something big has to come from that.
That's why she has the tiger.
The tiger is the close range. I don't know if they really showed too much in the anime, but the tiger was slashing at close range kaiju.
I don't think the anime really showed any of it. The only like benefit that I noticed that the tiger really gave to her is when she shot, it bounced her back to make sure she didn't fall.
Yeah, the tiger was sitting there taking,
And he would
part of the
throw
blow.
his body into her to keep her upright.
Yep.
And then that it could smell kaiju.
Yep.
Because every time Kafka walked by, it snarled up. Every time.
Mm-hmm.
Which should have given it away. Just saying.
Maybe it was just targeting because he's old. You never know.
Ageism.
Or maybe it could have been the first excuse where he told Kikuro, like, I worked in the cleanup crew, so I just straight up smell like kaiju.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, that is the excuse that he used.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's one thing to do it with a person and another thing to do it with an animal who
That's
is
trained.
Yes.
Then again,
So is she. But
she is a trained animal.
Ooh, let's just throw out another weird curveball. I can see the tiger dying.
Yeah, maybe.
That I can see because, yes, it could claw at kaiju and everything. At the end of the day, it's just an animal.
Okay, maybe I don't want to say it's gonna die. Let's just say it's gonna be out of commission. It's gonna go down, and it's not gonna be workable in the future. I would hate to say that it's just straight up die.
Maybe he'll get his own armor or own kaiju weapon.
Oh, he's gonna be all suited up.
He's gonna lose a leg, and now here's bionic arm.
Yeah.
Bionic arm, sword coming out of its mouth.
I mean, they were talking
All
about
right, this isn't Digimon. We need to slow down a little.
Well, I was going to say Zoids, but
Same concept.
yeah. They made a comment that other countries were experimenting with injections and stuff like that. So if it's not going to be the tiger itself, I would like to see injections in just people in general in the Japan area where we're mainly focused. I would like to see some form of arm transformations, some kind of like hand blasters or something.
So
I love hand
speaking of
blasters.
season 2 in like the divisions, I wonder if each continent has its own ranking system. Or do you think Division 1's in America?
No. Division 1 is Japan.
It's also and then I have a feeling that each continent, because obviously the kaiju are everywhere, because they've stated overseas they're doing testing.
Mm-hmm. They said
If
that
they have their
Japan
own-
was the main focus of all the attacks.
Okay, so more so than the other continents are more testing
Mm-hmm.
than they are actual fighting.
Right. So they're branching out at a slower pace, but Japan's getting hit more exponentially.
they're the hub.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Very kind of soul leveling-esque.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. The guy at the end of the Shinomiya versus Kaiju 8 fight, the one, he had like this big ass long gun with a big blade at the end. His name is, I think it's going to be Gen Narumi. He had like spiky slicked back hair, but like poofy at the same time. Purplish hair.
His name and actually how his character looked remind me again from Bleach.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that guy, oh shit, I'm already. I just read the chapter. He's either the vice captain or the captain of Squad 1 captain. So he's the nerd. Okay, no, I said this.
He's the nerd.
I said this in the beginning of the episode. Now I can spoil. This is no real spoil, but he is a video game nerd. He is a Gundam collector nerd.
Perfect.
And when we meet him, his room is a complete mess, and he is just balls deep in a video game, and he's been like lights out. This guy is going to be so much fun. I can't wait to see more
The
out
fact
of
that
him.
he's an absolute nerd, but is captain of the strongest division.
Exactly. Yeah, but he's going to be a badass. So yeah, he's going to be the strongest. Well, we can't say he's stronger than Shinomiya, but yeah, Defense Force. He's the leader of. I would imagine him being the strongest, the second strongest of everything.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
And the fact that he looked at it, the Kaiju or Kaiju 8, no fear, no nothing, was ready to take him down, just shows that he's got the combat experience, and then he's got the power to rival.
Yep.
Also, not spoiler, a little backtracking. So obviously we saw Chief Shinomiya go one-on-one with Kaiju 8.
Mm-hmm.
In the anime, they literally talked about that Fortitude 6 would take a whole division.
Mm-hmm. Fortitude 6 meaning for our listeners.
For the strength level.
Meaning
the power level.
We've seen Kafka go 9+ every single time he's entered.
Yep. And the fact that the chief was able to go toe-to-toe with a 9.8 just shows potentially the difference in 96% power to 100% power, which is insane.
Yep.
I don't know, you guys have anything more to say about the future?
No, I can't wait. So it is confirmed season 2 is a thing, but there is no confirmation on when we will get a season 2.
Yeah, they're just talking about sometime in 2025. They just no clue when.
If I had to guess, it's going to be a
I would have
fall.
Summer or fall.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, as long as they do it right.
We also can't rush it too much because we are not that much further than the manga, as you've brought up. And the manga is ongoing. I know that much for sure. So I would rather wait a little bit longer, give us enough buffer than trying to like, all right, we're going to do it in a year and a half. All right, now we got to wait 5 years so that we have enough content to animate.
Right, it could be that case too, just like they did with Attack on Titan.
Yeah, that's what they did with Attack on Titan.
Well, the story was never finished
Yeah, I know.
when they started, but
Yeah, it's just kind of what's going on with Black Clover. There's no manga to keep going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll just see. And obviously the anime community will let everybody know, so no one's going to be left in the dust at this point.
Yeah, definitely keep a close eye on the AnimazeShow because they will definitely be one of the first ones to let us know what's going on with Kaiju number 8, season 2.
I just had a thought. Sorry. Apologize. Backtrack a little bit. So they can overclock their suits for what, about 5 minutes, or is it 10?
It depends on the individual.
Okay, so it depends on the individual. So like they were saying that Shinomiya's, her power is on par with the captain's at 56%. Her suit can overclock her to 96. That goes to show the big scaling now instead of an overclock suit to somebody who has access at 100 compared to when the captain's actually at 56 to 60. I just had that like random thought that her power, yes, is at 96 and we're trying to compare it to somebody at 100. Mm-hmm. What about the people reaching 100 without overclocking their suit?
Who are just naturally at 100?
Just naturally at 90s to 100.
Like the captain,
like
Mina.
the chief and things like that. Because Mina's at 96 overclocked.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Because they mentioned that her power at 56 is almost on par with the captain's.
Oh,
so I'm assuming Mina's probably in the 60s. Because her suit was overclocked because against Kaiju 10, they said that you need to also turn off your suit because those last couple shots have you close to overheating.
Yep.
And that's when she was at 96.
Okay, yeah, that's a very good point. It's the difference between full potential versus completely overdrive.
Because I don't think the chief overdrived at all.
No.
I don't think he did. Maybe they might have mentioned that he was close to overheating, but I don't think he ever powered up.
No, I also don't think he was also given it his full.
He 100% wasn't.
No.
The only time he actually tried is when he went berserk because he had to save his life.
Yeah, he had to save his own life. Yeah, that's a very interesting point.
Lance, I know you have been giving Pokemon quizzes. I have not been doing very well at them.
That's fair. I've been given some really weird curveballs here and there.
So hopefully with Tyler being here, we can do better than a 1 for 3 because that's what my average is.
Well, I haven't played Pokemon in about 7 years, so we'll see how it goes. If you touch any new gen, I'm screwed.
Don't worry.
I'm screwed.
They're all original and yeah.
Like what, Gen 1 and Gen 3?
Yeah, I will never go past, for these quizzes, I will never go past Gen 3.
Perfect. Gen 3 was Blaziken and okay.
The best fire Pokemon. Just throwing that.
It really is.
Best fire starting Pokemon.
Oh, those are fighting words.
Well, actually, it kind of is, considering my favorite Pokemon is Typhlosion. To me, Gen 2 had the best starters.
Typhlosion was great, but he was weak.
He was.
He was just, yeah. I mean, he was a fantastic Pokemon.
He within the generation, but as soon as I was able to go back to Johto, like he was no longer on my team.
Even back
Kanto.
Back to Kanto, yeah.
Yeah, back to Kanto. Like he's a good fire, but that's only because within Johto there's like 100 Pokemon.
Something like that. And there's not many fire type.
So you just don't have a good option.
Yeah, your next best one, if maybe, was like Houndour, and you didn't get that until like halfway through Johto.
Yep.
And on top of that, he doesn't.
No, I take that back. I don't think you got Houndour until Kanto. You didn't get him in the first half of the game. I was always mad about that.
Yeah, you didn't get him until like stock level running into him in the wild was like 40s.
Maybe. I remember because he was like to the left of Lavender City, and you had to jump over, whatever. In between the gambling city and Lavender Town, that's where you can find Houndour at night, and it was really fucking annoying.
Yeah, so you just didn't have good options for fire Pokemon.
Very good point.
And probably is one of the cooler originals, like as far as a sprite is concerned.
Right. Yeah, he was really cool. I really like the concept of him starting his own fire.
Yep.
All the way back from Cyndaquil all the way up, just igniting his fire to ready for battle.
Yep.
Just kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think I'm a little biased on Gen 2 because that's like, I played like yellow and green and red. And
you didn't play green. You don't read Japanese.
I'll fight you. I spent a lot of my time playing
the OGs.
Silver, Gold, and Crystal. Like I played a lot of Crystal and a lot of Emerald. Those are my two favorite games. So I think that's probably why I'm more partial to Gen 2 starters. Because I honestly like their design better than Gen 1.
That's very fair. It just depends on how much time you spent on those games is how much you're going to feel towards them.
Yep. I never played Crystal.
I played that twice, but I was I always lean towards silver because that was a better Lugia.
Yep.
All right, so let's get into the quiz.
So that does go into what I found in an old box, which was the silver and
gold
and silver walkthrough. If that doesn't age us at all,
yes.
Needing to buy a walkthrough so you could get through stuff.
Yeah, so Matt recently found his old magazine that gave him everything that you need to know before the internet was really big. And so I looked through it and I took a couple notes, and this is ultimately where I got my influence for my questions.
Well, it's been 20 years since I've looked through it, so it's
oh, that's fair. These are also semi-general questions, and if you're familiar, I feel like I didn't make these questions hard, so I think everybody will appreciate these ones.
All right, cool. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so like I said, these questions are going to be Gen 2 related, gold, silver, crystal. This is really going to go off of more of the video games than the anime or anything along those lines, but here we go. Question 1. In Gen 2, Eevee introduced 2 new evolutions. Who were they?
It's Umbreon and Espeon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Espeon's my favorite. Or Umbreon. Umbreon.
Umbreon, the dark one?
Dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a badass. Tank.
Also the easiest one to get.
All right, question number 2. The first gym leader was the bird-type Pokemon user, Falkner. What 2 Pokemon did he have in his party?
That's not easy at all.
Pidgeotto and Fearow.
Matt, what do you got?
I think it was Fearow.
No. Was it Hoot's evolution? I'm drawing a blank on what it's called.
Noctowl.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Noctowl instead of Fearow.
I'm going to go with Pidgeotto and Noctowl.
Okay. Good ideas. Both wrong. Falkner in the original video game had just Pidgey and Pidgeotto. Now, I think in the anime, he had
that
Hoot
makes
Hoot.
sense. Okay. Yeah.
He had Hoot Hoot / Noctowl.
It's been so long since I played the game that I couldn't. I know he had Pidgeotto.
Yep.
Because it was a pain to beat.
Yep, that gust completely took you out.
I also feel like it would have been an easy way to kind of introduce the new characters. So
right.
But
Hoot Hoot was new in that generation. Why not freaking give him to him?
Yep.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure that was anime only. But in the video game, it was just Pidgey and Pidgeotto.
Okay.
All right, you guys are 1-1. Final question. After obtaining the squirt bottle, what level do you find Sudowoodo at?
32?
20?
Matt's correct at 20.
Oh, hey.
Ah, damn.
Yeah, it's only after the 3rd gym badge, so nothing's going to be as high as 32.
Fuck if I remember. Because I haven't played in so long that I always forget like the level requirements for the badges.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember finding it for the first time. It's next to the flower thing. Is that where you get the squirt bottle
That's
from?
where you get the squirt bottle.
Yeah.
On your way.
Blocking your path to continue as a tree that you can cut.
Yeah, there comes to a T where you come up and you can go, after you obviously battle Sudowoodo, you can go right back to Falconer's City. I think it was Violet City. And then you can take a left on your way to Ecruteak, something along those lines, where you go to the Ghost Gym and see the Burnt Tower with all the legendaries. All right, yeah, so those are my questions.
Ooh, I got 2 right.
Matt got 2, Tyler got 1. Good job, guys. I try not to make this one too difficult, but got plenty of questions to go through in the future.
That's fine. These are fun.
All right, so that's going to conclude today's episode. Thank you for listening to us this far. If you have, that means you like us. So please give us a rating on whatever platform you're listening to us on, because that would help us a lot. Also, feel free to follow the AnimazeShow on Facebook and Instagram. Stay up to date on everything anime related. And continue to follow us on YouTube, where we have our Short Flight series, where Matt and I watch anime and talk about individual episodes and what we thought of them every single season. And with that being said, we will catch you guys next time.